I'd like to say thanks to my parents.
I would like to thank my parents.
I'd like to thank my parents.
I'd like to thank my family and my parents.
I would like to thank my parents.
I want to thank my parents.
I would like to thank my parents. I would like to thank my parents because
for also
Mainly just because
For giving me the opportunity to go on mission trip.
For encouraging me to do my best in everything and including coming to church every Sunday.
mainly just because they brought me into faith, and if it weren't really for them, I wouldn't be going to church.
For raising me as a Christian.
because about a few years ago they finally brought me to this church.
For also starting me young in the faith and taking me to church every Sunday.
For bringing me to the thought of church in the first place. They raised me to know that God is always with me.
And Pastor Tom, because you taught us a lot more than just religious things.
And I would like to thank Pastor Tom for getting me involved in coming to Sundays and coming to church on Sundays and playing my ukulele and learning how to play and worship God in that way.
I'd like to thank Jacob from Activate Church, just because I've only known him for about a year and a half now, but he's really taught me what faith really is. He's really taught me generosity and just a lot of aspects of faith, just by his faithfulness with God, that he's very open to show to everybody, and his loyalty to the ones he loves.
I'd like to thank Pastor Tom for teaching me what it really means to be a Christian.
Pastor Tom taught me a whole bunch of things that I really didn't understand, and he really put them in perspective so I could understand them. And back to my parents, I'm happy they not really forced me, but brought me into church and came to Sundays and confirmation.
I want to thank my family as a whole. My sister's a great role model to look up to, and she's been through confirmation also, so I look up to her as a role model, and I want to be like her when I grow up.
I would like to thank Pastor Tom, of course, for being the pastor and doing all the sermons during church and leading confirmation. He's just been a really good pastor.
Last summer on mission trip, we did this thing called foot washing, where one person would sit in a chair and the others would sit around you. One person would wash your feet, and everyone around you would say nice things and pray.
A time I felt God at work in my life was last year. I was having hip pain, so we decided to pray for me, and it was a really interesting experience. I sat in a chair and my class sat around me and laid their hands on me, and then Pastor Tom anointed the oil on my forehead, and after I felt very emotionally touched by everybody, including God.
The time I probably felt the most, I guess, God working at my life was probably when my father had a drinking problem. I learned, how do I put it? I felt like not only was my father making mistakes, but I felt like I had made a lot of mistakes then, and I wasn't faithful with God, and I felt like it was God kind of speaking to me and my father and the rest of our whole family in a way to understand faith, I guess, in a way. Because I started going to church more with my dad and my stepmom, and that really helped. I've come to find that the more I go to church, the better person I am, the more aspects of Christianity I follow.
A time that I really felt God in my life was probably when my brother was born. I remember being really excited about it, and it was just a really special time in my family. I felt that God was like blessing us.
A time I felt God at work in my life was when I was probably 4 years old and my grandpa passed away. I believe like him and my grandma went to church a whole bunch, and then when I finally went with them, it was just so much fun because I loved my grandpa so much. And then when he passed away, it was actually at where he worked. He worked at Noah's Ark for how many years, and he just loved working there. And it was really tragic because nobody saw it coming. I don't know, I was really upset about it. And my parents, my whole family was just shook up about it. And so my parents started taking me to church more with my grandma. And then finally they said, well, let's go to this church because this church is actually where they got married. I don't know, just ever since then, Pastor Tom has put so many things into perspective that I did not understand.
A time I really felt God in my life was when my cousin committed suicide. I thought that why would this happen? Why would God take him away from us? But he got a concussion actually, and so his brain became part of research on concussions. And so I felt that I have a purpose in life too, and I'm gonna try harder in school, and I'm gonna be a better person and a nicer person to everyone around me.
Well, I guess my parents got divorced at a young age, and I guess I just never got like the feeling to like to be a family, you know. I guess is what I'd kind of get at. Going to church helps me because it kind of gets me the feeling of family and helps me meet new people. And
I think people need to know that church is more than just going on a Sunday regularly and saying that you go to church. I'm trying to say like going off camera and like family, like church, you create more family, like our confirmation family that we have, and it's more than just being with God, it's being with the people you love, and yeah.
Something that I would like everyone to know about God is that God and faith in general, it's not hard to do. Some people say, well, I haven't been to church my whole life. If I start now, what's gonna happen? Church, it welcomes you. It's not like, oh, you can't come here, you've never been here before. Church will always welcome you, no matter what. God will welcome you, and because, God's a nice person. And everyone at church is very nice too.
I think people should know that God is always there for you and he loves you.
I think so many people outside of church and in the community don't really understand what church has to offer, and they really misunderstand it. Like when I first started coming to church, I was kind of clueless. I didn't really know what to think about it. And then I got here and I understood so much more. And like people, I think, need to start coming to church. I mean, coming to church at any age really helps you grow in your faith, and you really understand so much more. God loves everybody, and if you don't get involved with him now or start believing in him, I don't know, you're just missing out, I really think. And faith has just impacted my life so much, and if someone did come to church, like if I could bring someone to church, I totally would, because their faith would grow too.
Cheesy, but I got it. Is that the first question?
Hi, Tilly.
A time I felt, oh shoot. Okay.
My name is Trent Briggs.
Moved the brain. They sent it someplace for some researchers to look at.
Does it still look okay? Like, do I look kind of deep?
Crap.
Do you want anything else to add to that?
That's all, folks.
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun, dun. No! Oh my.